I think a good place to start is maybe just tell us kind
Who
of
are
about
you?
you, and then we can talk about your story, quilting, all the
Sure.
things, and then we'll talk about how you got to publishing your book.
Sounds lovely.
Hey y'all, I'm Emily, an almost lifelong quilter with a lot of stories to tell. I have loved quilts and talking about them for as long as I can remember, and I'm here to celebrate the tradition of quilting with you. From family heirlooms to thrift store finds, every quilt holds a piece of history and a little piece of a quilter's heart. Join me every other week to get back to your quilting roots. We'll celebrate quilts and the real people who made them, learn a little bit about the history of quilting, and have lots of fun exploring ways to reclaim tradition in a modern world. I'm so glad you're joining me this week here at Patchwork Revival.
Hey, friends, welcome to the Patchwork Revival podcast. I'm Emily, coming to you today from the middle of a Texas snowstorm. In this episode, my guest is no stranger to winter weather. I am speaking with my friend, my colleague, and Wisconsinite, Abby Luchsinger of Abby Maed. You may know Abby as a quilt pattern designer. She has served as a brand ambassador for Art Gallery Fabrics. Now she is part of their Social Bee Collective and designs fabrics for them. But this conversation comes at a really exciting time because she is on the brink of something brand new for her business, and that is releasing her very first book into the world. Abby's book is called Cozy Quilts for the Modern Home, and we're going to hear all about it. But before her book officially hits the world, we're slowing things down a little bit. We're going to rewind and talk about Abby's quilting story from the very beginning, how she found quilting, how she discovered her design voice, how it evolved, and what it's been like to build a creative career one season, one step at a time. We also talk about what it means to take all of those years as a quilter and turn it into a book that's about more than just quilting patterns. It's about creating intentionally and in a way that feels personal to you and your home. So, whether you're curious about the behind the scenes of publishing a quilting book, or dreaming of designing your own quilt patterns, or if you're like me and just really love hearing other people's quilting journeys and quilting stories, you're going to love this episode. Stick around, get cozy, let's jump in.
So, my name is Abby, which you of course know, but maybe everybody else doesn't. Um, I am a mom of four. I have four kiddos. My oldest is in seventh grade. He's 12, almost a teenager. He's gonna turn 13 this spring. And then I've got an 11-year-old, 9-year-old, and 7-year-old daughters. And so we have a busy household. And I live in outside of Madison, Wisconsin, and I've lived in Madison for, gosh, I think like 8, almost 8 years, 7 to 8 years. Um, but I've been in Wisconsin almost my whole life, except for one brief little field trip over to the West Coast when my husband was in med school. So, born and bred Wisconsinite.
Lovely. It's snowy, it's cold.
Uh-huh.
Tell me how you started. You're a very creative spirit. So, did it start with quilting?
So, when I was really little, so my grandma is a quilter and my mom is a quilter. And when I was little, my grandma was the primary quilter. My mom didn't have time for that yet because she had kids. Um, so whenever we would go over to my grandma's house, she was super sweet and she would like let me sit on her lap and help guide the fabric through the sewing machine. And then when it came out the other side, like it was my special job to clip, snip the threads, which I thought was such a big deal when I was a little kid because I got to hold these sharp snips and, like, it was it was pretty special.
Yeah, it was
And
very serious.
then, like, as I got older, she gave me, like, harder jobs, like, "Here's, like, 100 hearts that need to be cut out of with a stencil or whatever," and so then I was like, "Ooh," and I, like, sat in her sewing room and cut out all these hearts that eventually became, like, her bed quilt, and And then, like, when I got to, like, middle school and high school, then I started being able to, like, pick more projects to do with her, and so instead of just helping her with whatever she was doing, like, we made, um, really simple quilts for a bunch of my girlfriends in high school as, like, birthday gifts, and then we made, like, skirts and doll clothes and, like, all kinds of random stuff, but it was so much fun, and I don't know how typical it is for kids to, like, cannot wait to go to grandma's house when they're even in high school and stuff, but I was
Yeah,
so excited.
that was me too.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
I
I was
don't
like,
know, maybe
"Yes."
it is typical.
I don't know, maybe, but I was all about, like, spending weekends at grandma's house, and she would, like it would be just me and her, and my grandpa was there too, and, like, we would pick a project to do and get going with it, and then, like, she would always make French toast for breakfast, and I was like she made the best French toast, so it was just a great time. But yeah, so I did that, but I think, like, outside of sewing with her, I didn't do a lot of sewing independently because I didn't have a sewing room and all of that as a kid, so I pretty much just sewed with her, and then when I was on my own, I did a lot more, like, art, like drawing and painting and a little bit of cross stitch and just whatever kind of I could do independently. So a lot more art stuff than craft stuff at home, but
Right. Was was your grandma in Wisconsin also?
mhm, yeah.
I feel like Wisconsin is like a quilting hub. Do you
It
feel that?
is.
I mean, it
There's
is,
so many
right?
quilt shops here. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
great, and I don't think so when I was younger, I don't know, I kind of had this idea that all quilts looked a certain way, probably like how my grandma's quilts looked, and so,
Uh-huh.
like, I enjoyed sewing with her, but I wasn't sure that it was really, like, my style, and
Yeah.
so it wasn't until I don't even know. Like, probably just a few years ago that I was making a baby quilt for, a friend of mine and or no, for my niece. And I, like, got on Instagram and I was looking around at ideas, and all of a sudden, like, I started seeing all these, like, much more contemporary looking quilts, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing." I thought that all quilts, like, were dark colors or, like, you know,
Yeah, like
very
blocks.
vintage
So I
looking.
remember my grandma's quilts, a lot of her blocks finished at like 8 inches, like
Yeah,
little things where you
little,
literally had to make like it
a
seemed like
bajillion.
1,000 of them,
Yeah,
like make
yeah.
a bed-sized quilt or whatever. So
Yeah, so
I
I
know
had
what
no
you
idea. I just thought that, like, quilting like, it was fun to do, but it wasn't my style at all, and then, like, yeah, I kind of stumbled into the Instagram quilting community, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is totally my style. I could do this. This would be amazing."
mhm.
So and then, the rest is history.
I know, and
Going.
now look at you. Um, do you remember did your grandma do mostly, like, traditional piecing or applique or just all the things? Do you
I think
remember?
she did a mixture. I know she has done quite a bit of applique, but, like, with the zigzag stitches,
Uh-huh.
around the edge kind of applique. My mom is also a really talented artist, so she would, like, draw pictures for my grandma, and then my grandma would trace them onto fabric and then applique them onto things, so she made, like, these really cute stockings and stuff that were all
Mhm.
totally unique and based on my mom's illustrations, and so it was fun stuff like that, but she did do a lot of just, like, block-based quilts too, I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
So, she likes to try things, and, like, when she would try something new and she made bags and she made mittens, like, all kinds of different things, but, like, when she, like, found something that she loved, she would make, like, a ton of them. So, like, we she hasn't sewn now for a number of years, and, we still have so many mittens and bags, and we're good. We're good for life here with the mittens.
Yeah. Does she have a lot of grandkids?
She only has 4 grandkids, and
Uh,
then, I think 7 great-grandkids.
yeah. I mean, that's still a lot, but I remember I feel like my grandma would always want to make a lot of things, so she would, like, designate it for, like, "This is for this granddaughter and this
Yeah,
granddaughter and that one." It made her feel like she had a reason to, like,
yes,
buy the fabric, make the stuff, but
yeah, totally, but
so you found I would say I don't know, I'm a little nitpicky, and I actually wanna hear what you think about this because I feel like well. use the term modern quilting to actually just encompass, like, our contemporaries and our peers that are quilting. And,
Mhm.
like, to me, it's a very distinct style to be a modern quilter, and I have a lot of admiration and respect for that. It's not my style. I wouldn't say it's your
Mhm.
style either, but,
No.
I would say contemporary.
Yeah, I would say
And then
contemporary, or I've used the term, like, modern traditional
yes, yeah,
because it's, like, it's a lot of, like, the typical, like, piecing techniques and things that you would expect from quilts for however long we've been quilting, but also, like, it's more the color, like, I have a lot more negative space and a lot more,
yeah.
like, softer colors or solids, that are not as
Mhm.
typical for traditional quilting. So,
Right.
I don't know, I think that was the hard part when I first started quilting was that, I went to a big quilting show here in Madison, and I was looking around, and I was like, "This is so interesting, like, nobody here has my style." Like, it was either all, like, the very, very modern, where it's, like, bold colors and, like, very bold designs and stuff like that, or it was, like, the much more traditional where it's, like, a lot of, like, calicos and darker
Almost like
colors and
reproduction
yeah, and
fabric.
reproduction fabrics and just,
Yeah.
like, that style, and I was like, "Well, I don't fit either of these," and so I kinda feel like I had to be okay with just, like, figuring out a different style, and I was like, "Well, maybe everybody will hate it because it's not what's done, but maybe not. Maybe people will enjoy that it's something fresh and different." So, yeah, it was very experimental. And
Yeah,
I
but
think
I
there's
love
just,
it
like
because it's your voice, but it's
yeah, and I
through,
think, like,
like
once you start making just, stop thinking about what everybody's making and just make what you love, then you find your people that love that too.
yeah, I
So
agree, I totally agree. I always find it very interesting. I love being on Instagram because I feel like there's kind of a thriving creative community there, but it's, like it's changed a little bit over, I would say, the years, probably.
mhm.
Just the app. I don't think the people or the community
Yeah,
changed
agreed.
that much. So it's, like, sometimes harder to find, but I've, like, caught myself I, like, catch the point where I'm, like, falling over to just, like, spending too much time scrolling for
Mhm.
creative, so I think it's a nice balance, but I feel like that's a good place, to share and to find inspiration, but where else do you feel like you find your inspo, whether it's colors or designs or
Yeah. I mean, I think my whole house is a lot of, this kind of colors,
Mhm.
like, a little bit less bold and, like when I make a quilt, I have this game that I play where it's like, I don't know when I'm designing it, I don't know what room it's meant for, but then, without fail, once it's done, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it goes perfect in so and so's bedroom," or "It looks great in the living room," or "This is meant for my bedroom," and I didn't even know it, and so I think that, there's, a back of my brain thing that, likes what it likes, and,
Yeah,
I put that into my work, and I don't necessarily realize that I'm, choosing the similar things, but it just keeps happening.
yeah.
So,
It
but,
is
yeah, inspiration-wise, I mean, we live in a beautiful state that has 4 seasons, and I think that is a huge source of inspiration too, just what's going on outside the window.
yeah. Nature.
Nature, I know, that's a little cliche, but it's true.
Not though, it's not cliche because, um, I don't know, I think nature itself is creative, so I feel like it's just a
It is.
natural thing to, like, look at that and see rhythms and colors and blending and all the things,
Mhm.
so
And it's always different. I think that's the thing too, this winter isn't gonna look like last winter or the winter before, and same
mhm.
with spring and summer, there's always something different that I'm noticing or seeing or appreciating and, or different color combinations or different, flowers that I didn't knew grew here and looking
Yeah,
at their, petals and leaves and stuff, it's fun.
yeah, I love that. Tell me about okay, I know I wanna talk about art gallery because
Mhm.
I feel like you've always used art gallery fabrics, or from when I remember starting to see your journey, I was like, "Oh, it looks like those fabrics are, like, made for Abby." Like,
Isn't it?
thank
Yeah,
you.
it's crazy.
Yeah. And then I wanna hear all about because then you did their, um,
Socialite.
socialite an AGF socialite program, and that has evolved.
Mhm.
So, um, tell us about kind of your journey with your favorite fabrics.
Yeah. So oh man, it was probably like 4 years ago now, is that right? That seems like such a long time ago. But it was like the fall, maybe 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago, like fall of 2022. I, had just launched my business. It was brand new, and, they AGF put out this thing for, like, a socialite program that would be, like, basically a brand ambassador for them. And up until that point, I had used a lot of different fabrics, and whenever I used Art Gallery, it felt like I was using my nice fabric. Like, I saved it for my like, my favorite projects, and, like, I use it super sparingly because I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is, like, the nicest stuff." And at that time, there wasn't a shop nearby that had it, like, widely available, and so, like, I was just like, it was harder for me to find locally, so I used it whenever I had, like, a special project. And then I also really love wovens, and so those were kind of like the 2 that I was, like, loving to sew with. And I applied for their, program, and I was shocked when I got chosen for it. Like, I got an Instagram message from Pat Bravo, and I legitimately thought it was spam. I'm like, "Surely she's not actually just, like, messaging me on Instagram," but she, like, messaged me and she said, "Hey, are you available to chat?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I didn't even know you could do this, but you can, like, chat, like, do a video chat on Instagram. I don't know if you still can, but you could 3 years ago. And so
Yeah.
I was like, I did not realize, like, what I didn't get it, but she like, all of a sudden, she's, like, there on my phone chatting with me, and it's really her. And I it was the craziest experience ever. And so yeah, we chatted and she said that, she would love for me to be part of this, and I was like the whole time, I was like, "Surely she must have me mistaken with somebody else." Like, I'm a nobody in the quilting world. I have, like, a couple hundred people who follow me, and I just started a business, and, like, surely this is a mistake. But I was, like, not gonna correct her. I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's do this." And
Yeah.
so then, like, the next it was probably, like, January after that, I think, or February when we finally, like, got everybody together and launched it, and they had 10 socialites, and it was so much fun because, like, all we had to do really was just share what we were doing anyways,
Mhm.
and they would send us fabric for our projects, which was, huge, especially for, like, a brand new business. I mean, for any quilter, but especially when you're starting up, like, the cost of fabric is significant, and so, like, that was just
Right.
such a
It's
benefit for my
yeah.
business. But it was so fun, and, like, I was already, like, in the habit of posting really regularly on Instagram, and so I just, like, incorporated that into my normal flow, and then they flew us out to their warehouse I think it was, like, October that year, and which was the coolest thing. It's like Wonderland for fabric lovers.
Yeah.
So you just get to, like, walk up and down these aisles and see all of these things and see, like, their huge scrap bins and, like, go see what you can find in there, and it was such a cool experience, and Pat and Walter are so warm and so kind and, like, so supportive that it just felt like a great fit from the get-go. So,
Good.
yeah.
I love that. And I was trying to remember I remember your first pattern was Gloria.
Mhm.
And then that year, what else? I was trying to remember what else um, they all blur together, like the years
Yeah.
together to
The
me.
first year I did Gloria, which is named after my grandma.
Uh-huh.
And you tested it, and you had a beautiful
Yeah,
version
I
of it.
remember that was the first pattern I ever tested, and it was so fun.
Oh,
Well, Twinkle
Twinkle
Light.
Lights, yeah, Twinkle Lights was my, like, wintry-ish one, and that one was so I feel like that one really, like, launched my business in a bigger way because it was super simple, but it just resonated with a lot of people, and
What?
and I think, like, you could put it together so fast because it's, like, strips and,
Right.
um yeah, it's understated, but it's really I still like that one. It's on my couch, and
I
we
love it.
snuggle with it every day. So, yeah, we did twinkle lights, and then I think in the spring, I did maybe Dishoot. No, not Dishoot. I did, Printemps, which is like a kind of
Yes,
like a
that's the next one. It's
yeah.
sort of like a what do they call it? A carpenter's star, but not really.
Yeah, it's kind of meant to look like a flower blooming, but
Yeah.
it's more abstract. So and
Mhm.
it's got, like, the ombre colorway that I love, and yeah, we did that one, and then we did lake days in the summer, and maybe butterfly was that year too? I don't know. I was really ambitious my first year.
You
It's
were,
a
because
lot.
'cause I'm, like, looking back and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I made that one, I did
Yeah,
that,"
you
but
made a ton of
I'm like,
them.
was that, like, over many, many years? I
No,
don't
I think we were just crazy and making yeah, I don't know. I still have in my basement, like, a huge tote full of because I was a pattern tester too for
yes.
a couple of years, but I just did so many pattern tests. I don't know where I found the time, but I have a huge tote full of, like, the flimsies that are
Mhm.
not finished, and it's fine. Like, whenever somebody needs a quilt for an occasion now, I'm like, "I bet I can find one in there.
Yeah. Let me
We're
go
good."
to my archives.
Check this out, but at the same time, I'm like, "I should really finish those sometime," because there's so many of them.
I know. I have several too, and I feel like I'm like you. I went through this season where I tested so many patterns, and it was just simply because I really liked doing it.
Yeah,
And I think it was how I like found kind of like community and friendship and all the
yeah.
things. But like, where, how did I do that? Like,
I
how
don't know.
did I
Yeah, I have
never
the
sleep?
same, like,
Or,
what's going on? Well, and I think part of it was, like, most of that was before I launched my business, so, like, I wasn't
yeah,
doing business stuff, and then, like, my kids were still littler, and now they're bigger, and so now, like, when my kids get home from school, it's like, "Alright, we have dance, and we have, youth group, and we have, like, all these things, and jazz band, and whatever that, like, we're running to," and so, I don't know, it's a busier season.
yeah, I see
But
that.
it was
Sure.
really sweet. I really enjoyed pattern testing, and honestly, I think it made me a better pattern writer because I got to see all of these different varieties of how people write patterns and how they organize them and how they tackle different techniques, and, like, you really think about what you like and what you don't like and what you would do differently, and I don't know. I think it was a really good experience.
I think it is too, and I'm not a prolific pattern writer at all, but I think for me, it was kind of eye-opening to see like, everybody has their own voice and their own interpretation of
Mhm.
a particular pattern.
Also, like, the community when a lot of the tests that I did, with like, for other designers, like, they would have their little Instagram chat group with everybody that was testing it, and it was so fun, like, I feel
Yeah,
like a lot of the friendships I made from that are still the people that I'm friends with now, and, like and I loved seeing everybody's progress, and I feel like we all got to know each other through that, and so, I don't know, it was a really valuable like, to make the big community a lot smaller was really
yeah,
nice.
I agree. It kind of made me think, okay, so you were talking about when you looked forward to visiting your grandma even, like, in high school. Okay, well, I would I would take, like, week trips in, like, college between semesters or even, um, med school and things like that, and I would go to my grandma's, and we would
Oh,
just do our projects together, or she would show me what she was working on, and, like, to me, that's what those little chats kind of felt
yeah.
like, It's like, oh, because when you're a high schooler making a quilt, you probably don't have a
Don't
lot of
have any contemporaries?
who are like, "Oh, wow, that's a great choice," or, "I love that green." Like,
Yeah,
honestly, you're kind of, like, closeted away, like, "Oh,
right?
yeah."
You don't talk about that, nobody cares.
So,
Totally.
I I loved that, and I don't know, I feel like people could totally do that, I don't know, I just encourage people to find opportunities and things like that, and I loved testing was a way to kind of find that online, and I think people
Mhm.
could make their own kind of little groups, um, anyway, I don't know,
Yeah.
like, get my
No,
wheels
it
turning
was
a
good.
little bit on that, but, um, so then art gallery, you've stuck with them because they've kind of I feel like it's really neat how they've evolved kind of with y'all's group because
Mhm.
now, um, y'all are designing fabric
I
collections
know. Which is
and
crazy.
all the things. So how did that creative kind of branch of your business come about?
Gosh, I think it was, like, after we wrapped up our first year with them as, like, official brand ambassadors, like, the program was done, but, like, a lot of us were still I mean, we have a bunch of art gallery fabrics now, so we're still sewing with them, we're still excited to be working with them, and I was doing, like, lookbooks and stuff like that with them just for the fun of it, and, at some point, Pat had this idea of, like, what if we have you guys try your hand at fabric design, which is unbelievably, like, cool opportunity, but also none of us are like, had ever designed fabric before, and so they offered it to all 10 of us, and 5 of us were like, "Yeah, we're gonna whatever it takes, we're gonna learn how to do this because that's just too cool to pass up." It was me, it's Kelsey from White Rose Designs, and Wendy from The Weekend Quilter, and, Christina from Sweet Potato Quilts, and then Brooke from Eudaimonia Studios. And, it ended up being a really great group. Like, we are all super collaborative and, like, none of us had, like, an ego in it at all. So we were just like, yeah, none of us know what we're doing here and we're all going to figure it out together. And like we were super flexible. Like none of us were holding too tightly to anything, which I think was really critical for it working out because if it was colors, if it was designs, like, I think the thing about doing it as a collaborative group is that you really can't hold anything too tightly. Like, you have to be okay with people being like, "Yeah, I don't know about that design," or "I love this one," or "I love this colorway, which isn't my favorite," or, all of it. The palette might not be all of the colors that I'm used to sewing with. But it was great because it really stretches you creatively too, to, like, have a palette that isn't your normal palette and be like, "Okay, I'm gonna design this, and I'm gonna design this specific theme that maybe I've never thought about designing before." Um, and so I signed up for, like, Bonnie Christine's class, which is amazing, but it was crazy to, like, be learning how to do fabric design and designing fabric at the same time, like,
Yeah,
I remember going
as a professional.
yeah, right. I'm like, so like I would do a lesson, make a design, do a lesson, make a design, do and like, just keep adding to my group
Yeah.
that I was gonna submit. But it felt like very scary. Like, what if it's not good enough? What if I don't know what I'm doing and I clearly don't know what I'm doing? But Pat was incredible and she over that summer after, the socialite program wrapped up, like, she had meetings with us almost weekly, and we would go through, like, whatever new things we had submitted, and she would talk to us about the printing process and, like, why certain colors work well together and why certain colors are gonna be hard because there's gonna be bleed and what they can do to, like, not have that happen, and different, like, scale and different, how, like, how designs are set up on a paper and what looks good and what creates movement and what works in quilting versus what works in apparel and, like, all these different things. I feel like it was like a masterclass in fabric design that, like, we were all just so grateful to have her mentorship for, and, so she really helped us kind of focus our energy and, like, learn what we're trying to do. And so mentored us really a lot through that first collection, which was Geo Bloom that came out in the fall. And then after that, they were like, "Okay, if you guys wanna keep doing this, like, see what you can do." And so then the next collection, we did it independently, and the collection after that, we were, like I think the next collection, we, like, told them what we were doing, like, "Here's our theme, here's our colors," whatever. but then we didn't show them the designs until we submitted. But then the collection after that, we didn't tell them anything. So we turned it in, like, basically cold turkey. They hadn't seen the colors, they hadn't seen the concept, and they loved it, which is a huge relief because, like, we had no idea if they would love it or not. So so I think, like, we're still learning and we're still growing as designers. I think I will be for a long time, like, still finding my way with it, but it's really fun, and it's so cool to, like, finally have in your hands, like, fabric that you drew the pictures, for. It's so cool. And so I
Yeah,
don't regret it at all.
that is really cool, and I feel like you're talking about y'all's the first collection where you're essentially an apprenticeship almost, you know what I would think about it? It makes me think of, residency, like,
Yeah.
just do it scared, you just have to
Right,
do it
exactly.
scared
Just do
and
it and
just
you're gonna
trust
figure it out.
that someone's gonna be like, "Hey, I'll help you with that," or like, "Wow, that's really not great," and, like,
Yeah.
they do, and anyway.
Yeah.
So, hopefully you don't have a lot of those moments, but those were, like, the moments I was always terrified of. It's like, "If I'm sucking, can someone just tell me, please?
Can
And
somebody tell me, like, sooner
please
than later?
rescue."
I know. Well, and I think there's just
Her.
in, like, owning a business and, like, starting out, I think there's just a lot of that, like, you just have to go for it, and you're not gonna know.
Nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
I
nobody
mean,
knows, especially when you're starting out, like, I still am learning every day, things like, "Oh, I didn't know that did that," or, "I didn't like, this is cool, and I should try to do more of this," and, like, yeah, I feel like I still have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just figuring it out.
just enjoying it. Okay, so that's your journey. You started as pattern writing. Well, you started just loving to quilt,
Just
and
loving to
then
quilt, and then a
yeah,
pattern tester, and then a pattern
finding your
writer.
voice, finding your people, and then you jumped in with both feet with art gallery fabrics, and you got to grow so much I would say, as a business owner, a person, a creative, probably as a
Mhm,
quilter, and then, I felt really lucky and honored. I know you from your very first pattern, and then you invited me to help with sweater weather when y'all had that idea as kind of a nebulous thing, and then it happened. Um, so I have kind of a smaller scale experience of, like, I don't think any of us expected what that was, what it became. I didn't
mhm.
like, I knew what I was doing,
I don't
but
think any of us did. We had no idea.
yeah, and I
So
look back on how I've grown as
mhm,
I think as a designer, but also just as a person, because I think, like you said, when you do those kind of collaborative things, it's a team thing. And
mhm.
and I don't work in like corporate America. I don't want to. My personality does not lend itself to teamwork or group, but I've learned how to do that a little bit and try at least to be, you know, open to more things
Mhm.
than I normally would be or things like that, so
Yeah, I do. I think that anytime you're, like, working in a team situation, like, it stretches you and pushes you and, like, some parts are amazing and some parts are like, "Oh, this is a little uncomfortable," and
sometimes you're like, "Why am I like this? I didn't know I was this kind of
yeah,
person."
because you learn more about yourself as you go through and you're like, "Oh, I didn't know that I was uncomfortable with this, and now I realize that I am," or, like, "This is a stretch for me," and
Yeah, yeah.
so it
One thing that struck me when you were talking about y'all's, kind of fabric design collaboration was, um in a way, you're creating something from nothing in a way except just an idea. So it feels very like the sky's the limit and you have all
mhm,
the options in the world, but actually, let's stick with these colors or let's stick with this theme.
mhm.
And I feel like from my experience, that pushes me a little bit more creatively. And I actually like that. I feel like
I
it
do
helps
too,
me
yeah,
focus maybe.
mhm, I agree. I feel like so with, with all the collections I've done for fabric design, I feel like the more specific we get about, like, our mood board and our colorway and our, like, what are we trying to convey with this collection? Like, the more specific we get, the more ideas I have because my brain is, like, narrowed in on, "Oh, that's what we're doing." Because I feel like if it's too broad, then I just like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's
Yeah,
too
it's overwhelm. It's
nebulous.
called the paralysis of analysis, like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I could do this or this or this," and now with, like, the
Right.
internet, it's like, what? I'm gonna just scour the whole internet until something is like,
Right.
"I'm the one," or like,
Yeah,
that.
I know, that's the thing, and, like, with sweater weather, I think that's been great too because it's like, "Oh, we're doing a fall-themed black. It needs to be 20 by 20. We're gonna pick a palette and, like, it's gonna have 6 colors and a background." You know, like, it's like there it could be anything, but, like, we've made these parameters so that it's like, "Okay, that really narrows down." There's still, like, endless things that I could do, but it just really helps my brain be like, "Okay, this is the mode that we're in."
Yeah, I agree, and I think that if I'm trying to think about, applying this to any of our listeners who are just like, "Well, I'm just, quote, just making quilts at home in my sewing room." But I still think, kinda like you say, your brain, I think a lot of times it just likes what it likes, and it's
Mhm.
fine. I think it's fine. If you wanna make every quilt that you ever make in, like, the colors you
Yeah,
like,
that's
just go
great.
for it,
I
'cause
mean, my mom went through a stage with, like, reproduction fabrics where, like, every quilt she made was, like, red, white, and blue. And they were great. They're beautiful quilts, but, like, that was she liked what she liked, and so she just stuck to it for a number of years, and then more recently, she's, like, branched out and been trying, other things, and, like, I gave her some of my fabrics and stuff like that, and those are beautiful too, but, like, it was totally fine for her to just like what she likes, and
yeah,
she
just
did it
do it.
great.
I think this goes back to, like, the internet and inspiration, and, of course, it's amazing. It's such a great resource, but if you get too caught up in, "Oh, wow, this person
Mhm.
did this, and this person uses these colors, maybe I should do it, blah, blah, blah," and then
Yeah,
you're, like, halfway through and you don't like what you're doing, that's not
right.
fun. Like, what's the point? I don't
I
know.
know. Yeah, there's been a couple of quotes where like, because every time people use, like, really bright, bold fabrics, I'm like, "That looks so fun." And, their blocks look so fun, and, like, the fussy cuts look so fun, all of it looks so fun. And then I try to do it, and I'm like, "Okay, it's fun, but, like, where am I gonna put this in my house? And I don't
Yes.
know what to do with this, and I don't like, this doesn't translate to my life." And so then, like, I end up inevitably, like, giving it away or whatever, and so then I go back to my more muted, softer
You know
colors and
I have this, incredible fascination with Tula Pink. Like, as
Mhm.
a designer, as a brand, I think she's, like, amazing. And I bought a lot of her fabrics one time when she did her, like, all-star collection with all of her animals. Um and then I was like, "I'm never gonna use these because I don't like, I'm cutting her owls in half, like,
I know,
just
it doesn't
the
work.
designs and stuff that I gravitate towards." I was like, "I can't use these. I can't decapitate the squirrels." Like, it was just too and the colors were also very bright, very bold,
Mhm.
and just not where my brain goes, but they're beautiful and
They're beautiful,
so
yeah, they're
uh,
incredible.
I love her style, I love her work, all the things.
Do that with, like,
Well
Ruby Star too, where I love Ruby
yes,
Star. I think their
I
designs are
know.
so fun and so clever, and it's like I totally gravitate towards it as far as, like, thinking it's amazing, but then I have no idea how to incorporate that into a quilt, and so,
Yeah,
like, my kids sometimes with my kids, like, they'll make something fun out of it, but
yeah,
yeah, I keep going back to my mostly solids or, like, low volumes and
very subtle things.
yeah, subtle.
Yeah, I made a bright quilt way back in the day from this collection that I saw, and I was like it was, like, one of the first times I bought, like, a fat quarter bundle of this one
Uh-huh.
collect because I was like, "Oh, okay, well, they'll all go together." Well, it comes out looking like a Lily Pulitzer,
Okay.
very bright, and I was like I don't even wear bright colors like this. I wear, like, black and gray and
Yeah.
oatmeal. But I have a friend actually, I don't know why I'm still haven't finished this quilt top. It's completely full. I mean,
Mhm.
finished, except it just needs to be quilted. I have backing and everything, and I should probably just quilt that and send it to
Get
her
it
because
done, yeah.
she lives in South Carolina. She has a new house. She, like, wears Lily Pulitzer stuff, and
Yeah, right?
I should probably just send that one to her, but
Right. I
it's
know.
in the archives, so one of these
One of these days. One of these
um,
years.
I know. I feel very, I feel very lucky and, like, behind the scenes because I have known about all of your creative endeavors for the last several years because sweater weather became, like, a little,
Little
um
social club.
it's like we just love each other. We are each other's friends, confidants,
Mhm.
a little safe space for everyone. You didn't tell us all the things, but you were like, "I'm doing this, I'm getting into fabric design," things like that. And then I've known for has it been a year or more than a year?
Almost 2 years, I think.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a long process, but you are about to bring forth the fruit of all your labor. It's a book. Tell
Yes.
I wanna hear now. I want you to tell us all about your book because now you can spill the details.
Yeah.
It's available for pre-orders, so I wanna hear all about it.
Yeah, so my book, so after the first time I went to QuiltCon was 2 years ago, and right after I got home, I think it was right after, I was approached by C&T Publishing, and they asked me if I would consider writing a book, and I had another moment just like I had with Pat Bravo, where I was like, surely not. Like, surely you must be mistaken. Like, surely I'm not the girl that you really wanna do this, but I was not gonna again, not gonna say that. I'm like, "Sure, absolutely. You want I can figure that out. I don't know how to do that, but I can figure it out." And, so I put together a proposal and they really left it open-ended. They were like, "We love your more, like, pictorial kind of, designs, but, like, what do you wanna write about?" And so I felt again, like what we were talking about, where it helps to like kind of have parameters to focus your creative energy. And so I was thinking about like what kind of quilts do I like to design and how whatever. And a lot of my designs I came to realize are seasonal and they like I have a spring quilt and I have summer quilts and fall quilts and like some of them could be used like you could do them in different fabrics and they could work for multiple times of the year, but I feel like I have really consistently kind of gone into this, like, flowers in the spring and, like, butterflies and whatever in the summer and, like, all these fall designs with sweater weather and then, like, more snowflakes and stars and stuff in the winter, and so I was like, "You know what? I think we're just gonna go with that," and so I proposed a book that would be, um, 4 sections, and each section would be a different season, so there's spring, summer, fall, and winter, and, we landed on 16 projects for the book, which is a lot, but
A
there
lot.
so there's 10 full quilt patterns and then 6 smaller projects, and the so each season has 4 projects, and there's, like, 2 or 3 quilts and then 1 or 2 smaller projects, and they're, they're really fun designs, like, the spring ones, there's this gorgeous tulip design called Fleuriste, which is much more like my typical style of like spring flowers. But then I have like a little zipper pouch for spring that looks like a little rainbow and it opens up flat. And then um the smaller projects are like there's a zipper pouch, there's like a tote with cute little strawberry blocks on it for summer. And then I have a really cute little I might even have it here. Hang on one second. Um, a little, like, bunting for spring that has little flower box on it.
Yes,
Bunting.
it's so cute.
So cute. And then, and then there's, like, a game board, like, that, has, like, a little zipper pocket for the pieces, and it could be chess or checkers, and a tree skirt, and a table runner for the fall that has cute little maple leaves sprinkled across it. So, it's very seasonal, but there are others that are like star motifs that you could do in any fabric for any season. But the idea was that I just thought it would be so fun to have this like book that like no matter what time of the year it is or what occasion is coming up next, that you would have like a pattern that you could make if you wanted to. And so like it would feel like this year-long companion book that like no matter what season or holiday or whatever is coming up, like there's something in there for you. And I would say they're all like beginner to like confident beginner. There's maybe some intermediate patterns because there are a few that have curves and stuff, but it's not like advanced level. I think it's even if you're a beginner quilter, there's so many tips and tricks. And the first part of the book is all about like techniques. So like if you've never sewn a curve before, like there is quite a bit of instruction on how to do that, or like different methods for flying geese or different methods for half square triangles and how to bind and how to do all that. So I think, yeah, I think it's really fun. And it was a huge stretch for me creatively to like come up with so many projects at once and then like, and then
And
have
then
this.
right? Like,
Yeah. And then write
because
all these patterns.
yeah, what I didn't understand, okay, first question I have, writing a book proposal, did you just, like, Google? Do
So what it is basically is like a slide deck, almost like a PowerPoint presentation. And so thankfully they were so good about guiding me through the process cuz like they knew that I had no idea what I was doing.
right,
And so, like, they had, like, a PowerPoint presentation, and it was like, "Here, fill in this information, this information, this information, and then, like, here's all of your project ideas. Here's, like, how you would kind of, like what would your table of contents look like? How would you structure your book?" And so, like, it really helped you sort of, like, figure out what the
yeah,
heck
what
you
the
were
heck you're
doing.
doing, like, what is
Yeah. So they really were like they gave you really good structure on how to do it, and they have a lot of author resources too. So, like, I
oh, good,
think my impression is that they probably approach I would say many of their authors are not people who have been authors before, and so I feel like they're pretty good at this whole, like, "You don't know what you're doing, but we do, and we're gonna, figure this out together."
yeah,
So,
perfect. When did you come up with the title of your book? The title have we said it yet? The title of your book
yeah.
is tell us
Cozy
what
quilts. Yeah, cozy quilts for the modern home. And I was really attached to the idea of cozy and modern together for a long time. And I had to like convince them because like sometimes cozy can feel like everybody has a different word association, right? With different things. And like some of these don't like they feel more fresh or more whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like the cozy that it like, it's a quilt. Like, quilts are inherently cozy, I think, but also, like, I want it's like the modern traditional, like, that juxtaposition of, like, you have this, like, cozy, um, useful, like, practical thing in your house, but it's also, like, feels contemporary or it feels modern, and, yeah, like, it's gonna blend with your furniture and your style and whatever in the year 2025 or 2026. Like this isn't the style from decades past.
yeah,
Um so yeah, I think I just really love the idea of cozy quilts. That just
yeah.
makes me happy.
Well, and I feel like your, description of all your projects and, like, I've seen some of the projects, they live up to the title, like, they just embody that, so I felt like it was the perfect title.
Thank
So,
you. Yeah, I was really excited about the title when we finally like landed on it
yeah.
together and
So
I was
that's
like,
later in the maybe, like, after designs and all this
yeah,
stuff,
so
come up
like
with
I
the title?
think I'm trying to think of when we even it was a while. Yeah, it's a while after because it's like when it was probably almost a year after we like first talked about writing a book that they actually finalized the title because it's like when they're getting to the point where they're going to come up with the cover design. That's when we had to like nail down. Until then we had some other working titles, but yeah, then like we had a meeting and the whole meeting was really about what is the cover design going to look like and what is the title of your book. So, it was great. It was a really good discussion.
I think what surprised me behind the scenes was how long this took.
Yeah.
And um, how much I mean, it was so much work. I mean,
It's a
so much
lot of
work for
work.
you.
Yeah.
Did you have any big surprises?
Um, I think I think you just don't know what you don't know, right? Because, like, I had never done it, so I had no concept of, like, what all was involved with it. And so, like, even, like and I like, this isn't on them because they tried to lay it out all for me, but, like, you just don't know until it's just like having a baby or doing anything else for the first
Yeah,
time in life.
you
You
can
don't
you
know.
can research, you can prepare all
Yeah.
you want, and then the time comes and you're like, "Oh, that's what that
That's
means."
what they were trying to tell me. Yeah. And so, like, they were very flexible. Like, they were like, "Well, how long do you wanna take to write this book?" And I was like, "I don't know. How long would it like, 6 months? That seems reasonable." And in hindsight, like, what was I thinking that, like, I have 4 kids and a business and, like, am designing fabric and, like, all of this stuff at the same time. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, "Yeah, 6 months sounds reasonable." And so I yeah, like, you do the proposal and then you like, I did a sample chapter with one of my projects, and then I was just set free to write this book, and so then and I, um, volunteered to do all of the diagrams and most of the photography. Again, what was I thinking? I don't know.
Well,
I just
yeah, I
you
was
know,
gonna say I was also surprised about the photography because you you have a very distinct style, and you are really great at photographing your work, and I feel like that's part of the creative process and like
it is.
creativity behind
And
your business, your brand.
I think the thing with this book is, like, if I was gonna write another book someday, I would love to work with a photographer for more of it, and I have this amazing friend, Kate, who she did do some of the photos, and she did an amazing job. Like, photos any of the photos that I'm in, like, I'm not that good. I can't do photos of myself. So, she did a lot of those, and we spent, like, an afternoon in her little studio. She lives just, across the neighborhood from me, and so she had really and she's amazing. She's like professional, legit photographer. I am not. But I do know how to do quilts because that's what I do for my
Yes.
business. And so and the other thing is it's seasonal, right? And so I was thinking it would be so fun to have so many like a number of the photos be during the seasons that they were
Yes,
representing.
like
And
seasonal, realistic seasonal photo.
yeah, like let's take my snowflake quilt out in the snow and let's.
Yeah.
And so it was like great because, like, I could have this very authentic to my style and to, like, the seasonal aspect of it, but it's also just, like, a ton of work to, like, take all these different photos of all these different projects and edit them appropriately and, size them appropriately. So, like, it's a
Yes.
lot. But I love how it turned out, but, like, in the future, I think maybe we just pick a season and do all the photos at once because that would have been
Yeah.
so much easier.
Yeah, I get that, but I also love that you had a vision and you just stuck to it, and
Yeah, I really love how it turned out, and in the end, like, the ends justify the means, hopefully. But
well, I can't wait to see it. I know it's available, for pre-order, right? When is our
yes,
release date?
the release date is January 27th, and if you are in the US and you want to support me, you can purchase it directly from my website, and then you will get a signed copy and all of my gratitude. Um Otherwise, if you are not in the US or if you're just more comfortable purchasing from, bigger entities, there's like it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes& and Noble, I think it's on C&P's website, and on my Instagram, there's like a book, what do they call it? Highlight or whatever, and it has
Yes.
links to all the different places that you can buy it. But there's a bunch of bigger retailers that have it as well, so you can just order from them. But if you order from me, that would be amazing.
Well, I was gonna say, listen, we love our people and supporting small businesses is supporting a real person.
Yes.
So, I'm gonna recommend to all of the Patchwork Revival listeners that you go to
Mhm.
www.abbymaed.com, click on shop, and you'll see a little subcategory for books, and you can click on that, and you can pre-order the book, straight from Abby's like, Abby's hands will touch the
Yeah,
book,
touch it
bring the
and
book,
pack it.
pack it, take it to the post office, like,
Yes.
I would be so grateful if you're gonna buy the book to buy it straight from Abby because that's just how
Yeah.
retail works, um
Mhm.
and we love that you have support and exposure and marketing from all these other entities, but I would love people to support you, and I'm gonna support you
Mhm.
because that's just what I like to do. But it is also really cool to imagine, "Oh my gosh, my book is on Amazon," like,
I know,
listed
it's
on
crazy.
Amazon.
It's so cool. It's yeah, it's wild. It's like I had like a definite moment when I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can search my name on Amazon and it actually comes up." That's so cool.
Yes, you're an Amazon searchable author,
It's
but you also have
crazy.
your own website and your own shop,
Yes.
so I'm gonna say
Yeah,
that one more time.
I appreciate that. And I mean, to all of my international friends, I really wish I could handle international shipping, but it's so complicated.
Uh, It is very complicated, and that's just one more thing, but we love our Canadian friends and
I know.
German friends and French friends and all the friends we've made.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing is if you have a local quilt shop, you can definitely ask them to carry it because that would be awesome too. I know that Checker has it available to distribute. So, like my quilt shop here in Madison is Blue Bar Quilts and they're going to be carrying it, which is so amazing.
Yeah,
But that's another good way to get it overseas and over to other countries easily.
perfect, yeah, through distributors. And then, you support Abby and you also support your own local quilt shop.
Yeah,
I
win-win.
wonder too, I have a couple in town, there's a couple of independent bookstores, and I wonder
Yes.
if they could get their hands on it too.
They probably could, and a lot of libraries also have crafts and quilting sections, so you
Yeah.
can always request it at your local library and see if they would be willing to order a copy and have it in your library. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I know,
Um,
it's great, but yeah, and if you this is also a really good book for, like, doing sew-alongs with, so, like, if you're part of a guild and some of these projects look fun to you, like, they're set up in a way that would be really easy to translate to a class or translate to a sew-along, and I'll be doing some sew-alongs throughout the year, probably, like, 1 per season,
yeah.
but I know that some of the local shops around the country will also be doing their own sew-alongs, which is super fun.
Yeah, sew-alongs, and you can always put your own sew-along together with your friend
Yeah,
or your
absolutely.
grandma or whoever
I know. Yeah,
whoever
and
your
I always think this is interesting too, like, a book is, like it's more than a quilt pattern, but honestly, like, it's not even as much as 2 quilt patterns, and you're getting 16 projects for it, so it's like a really good deal.
Yeah, it is, and it has some basic instruction too. Like, most
Mhm.
books that I see are like, "This is how you can make flying geese," or, "This is general
Yeah,
how
right.
to sew curves," or cut templates or whatever,
Yeah.
and so if you have a book, it's like I mean, I loved school, so when I have books, I'm like, it's like a quilting textbook, like,
I
it's a
know, there's, like, all
different
those, like, handy reference things, like, here's
yeah,
a list of tools that are great, and here's all of the basic techniques and all of the if you've never made binding before, or if you wanna try straight grain versus bias binding, like, you can just do it all.
yeah, number 1, you can learn what that is, and number 2, you can do it.
Yeah.
I feel so happy and just so glad and so proud that all of your work is just out there, like, I've seen all the work you've put in, and now you're getting to share about it, and that means I get to share about it. So I
Thank you.
feel, um, so happy for you, and I feel like this is such a cool thing and such a cool time. So it's been a really busy couple years for you, which I'm sure people can kind of infer from our conversation.
You
Because
haven't gathered.
while, like, just to make sure people understand the timeline, like, while you were writing your book and photographing the projects, and you made every single project in your book, like,
Mhm.
you did it from idea to design to sample to photography, all the things that was you. And while you were doing all this, you were learning fabric design, and designing fabric, and you were being one of the 9 wheels on the sweater weather train, and you had a couple little project patterns release throughout the
Yeah.
year.
Other
Year
yeah, quilt
years
patterns and stuff.
Yeah, so you've been working a lot, busy, a
Right?
lot, but I think you've done such a good job, and you've been really focused and true to what you like and what you wanna design and what you wanna put out into the world. We've talked in our group chat a little bit about the new year resolutions, words to focus on. All of us kinda have our own little, sort of philosophy and routine and sort of rhythm that we do with the new year, but what do you hope or see for Abby Maed in 2026?
So, yeah, in our little group chat, we were talking about, like, resolutions or words of the year, that kind of thing, or, like, what you wanna focus on, and I don't do a whole lot with resolutions, but I do really like thinking about a concept or a word for the year, especially as it relates to my business, just to kind of, like, focus my energy around. Um, so, like, last year, my word was sustainable because, as you can tell, the pace has been crazy and not I would say not necessarily sustainable, because I also have 4 kids and a husband and
And
that's a
you
lot,
value those
and I
relationships.
value those relationships, yes. Um,
Yes.
so so last year was not sustainable, but I felt like I was moving towards the point of, like, getting to better sustainability, but I think this year, I really wanna focus more on just, like, having fun and playing and, like, having more time to sew just for the pleasure of it and not having so many deadlines stacked up. So I'm excited to release a couple patterns this year, but, I think I'm gonna be focused on doing some solo-alongs for the book because there's so many fun projects to do in there. And then, I'm excited to do sweater weather again, but also I'm just really excited to just have fun and play and share what I'm working on, but also not have it be so deadline based. So, yeah, joy,
I'm excited
play.
for that for you. I feel like I have a little, like, secondhand relief of, like, "Okay, it's done. The book is here." And then, I'm excited to see kind of what your year looks like because I've always loved I think I'm just a nosy person. I've just always loved, like, what people are doing and what they're making and how they're doing it. And it doesn't matter if it's for anything but their own
Mhm.
work or enjoyment, or maybe it
Yeah.
is a pattern or a project they're releasing or something, but
Yeah, and, like, I mean, as I love quilting, and that will always be my primary thing, but, like, my girls are like, they want me to make some doll clothes for them and, like, other things that are just fun and not
just for
related at
fun,
all.
just because you're a gal with a sewing machine
Right,
and some really
exactly. We
nice
can just have
fabric.
fun with it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
good. Well, I'm so glad you took time to come talk to us. For our listeners, I'm gonna recommend they go check out your website. It's www.abbymaed.com, and you can find patterns, you can find tutorials on your blog. You have some
Mhm.
really cute tutorials that I know you've worked hard on. You can buy the book, Cozy Quilts for the Modern Home is available for pre-order, and if you buy it off of Abby's website, you get a signed copy. Um, what else is there? There's all kinds of things, but
I don't know,
oh,
yeah.
patterns for wholesale if you're a shop
Yeah. Yeah,
or
if you're a shop,
PDFs
you can
if you're
get
into
wholesale
that.
pattern. Mhm. And then
So,
fabric, we have our next collection coming out in March, Summer Homestead.
mm,
So you can check
Summer
that out.
Homestead. Yeah, and you can go preview all those designs. You can see lookbooks on um our gallery's website. That's
Yeah.
probably the best place to see those, you think?
Yeah, and there's also, like, if you haven't been on Art Gallery's website before, there is so many free patterns and tutorials on
Yes,
there. Like, it's
there
a
are.
treasure trove, so
Yeah.
it's worth checking out. Even if you're not following along for the fabric at all, like, just go check out all the free pad. It's really
Yeah, they
great.
have really cool stuff. Um, we have to shout out Art Gallery because they've been such a big part of your journey, but also they sponsor our fabric for our sweater weather
Yes,
samplers for the
they've been
last couple of
so
years.
generous. And
So,
all of our sweater weathers have been in art gallery fabrics, and they're so pretty. So,
yes, they're very beautiful. So pretty. Abby, thank you so much. I hope you have an awesome day. And I hope that 2026 is a year of sowing joy, just
yes,
sowing joy for you. So,
thank you, Emily.
Well, that's it for this episode of Patchwork Revival. I loved having you here with me talking all things quilty. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rave review. Also, be sure to jump down to the show notes to find links for this episode, as well as the link to my shop where you can enjoy 15% off as a podcast listener with code REVIVAL. Remember that the Patchwork Revival podcast is here to celebrate the connection made in the quilts we love. I'll see you next time.